Sup everyone, this is Carrick with ACG, the bearded shepherd of lost games, cool titles, and occasionally the digger-up of petrified game turds known as Resident Evil Umbrella Corps, which just proves you can't win them all. Or can you? Well, Warner Brothers and LEGO are trying. Once again, we have another game for another fiction using another fiction to explore another game. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Star Wars: The Force Awakens as interpreted by characters with the structural capacity of a game of Jenga. It's LEGO, it's Star Wars. If it doesn't print money, it sure as hell buys the ink and paper and warms up the press. Force Awakens is out now, and it's on just about every system. Let's see how this LEGO game did, shall we? As always, if you like the video, maybe subscribe. So here's the review for LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Tax form droid naming conventions, hey, you got your Gears of War in my LEGO, and Hayden Christensen finally getting his just desserts. Graphics are up first. You know, graphically, I would say it's pretty good looking with a number of special effects used, even on the older 360 and PS3 versions, like various depths of field, excellent water materials, and of course moments where everything on the screen explodes into a Skittles rainbow of plastic pieces and childhood memories. The Endor jungle looks great with baked-in shadows and the typical LEGO foliage, but has some little fun bits added in, like third-person Gears of War moments where you follow a character up close and blast away, and it uses a really solid depth of field effect at that time. Whether the levels have you taking an X-Wing through the one place that almost every Star Wars title has to have, which is the patented Star Wars asteroid field, or sees you sweating it through the oldies, sprinting to and fro inside a threatening room-sized trash compactor, or later even battling it out on jungle floors. The game knows what it needs to do and for the most part presents it really well. Now, I said for the most part, because as with most LEGO games, it does see some serious slowdown, especially on the past gen systems when high numbers of particles are on the screen. But on the current gen and on the PC, for the most part, it's fine, and it runs well. It runs about as good as the past titles have. There isn't much more to say here. The game doesn't go out of its way to do anything other than continue the tradition of past titles showing new locations, and it does that well, and it's always got that really good, crisp image quality and toy-like effect. Sadly, it's not perfect. There are a couple bugs, and the PC game opened up to a big black box for a couple hours as well, which is funny, but in the end, I think that's been fixed for most people. Sound, music, and voice.
I must inform you that my circuits are quite unable to withstand moisture levels in excess of 51%.
There goes nothing.
And of course, sound is up first in this trilogy of audio awesome. This is some of the best sound I think I've heard in a LEGO game now. While the occasional odd mixing occurs with characters suddenly sounding like a fall or an interaction has been processed through a new technology called earmuff 5.1, for the most part the sound spectrum is actually wide, and things like laser blasters have that small sizzle that you recognize from a mile away. What does continue to happen, though, is the odd issue where one explosion might be loud and bassy and have a good top and bottom end, while others are missing the bottom end completely. It's just really puzzling, and it's been something that past LEGO games have always had issues with, and it must be something within the game engine itself. But as a package, I'd say sound, really good. Music. I mean, come on, it's Star Wars, and with a mix of old and new alike, hating it sort of like slapping someone's grandma, it's pretty insane. The music continues the over-the-top Star Wars epics, which means dueling string sections trying to fight off what is apparently an attack by everyone in the horn chairs. That's why I've always liked the Star Wars music anyway. It's one part subtle, one part, hey sucker, I'm right here, I'm spacey, force-using, and bad guy marching kinds of awesome. And as always, that eclectic mix of that with the goofiness of LEGO really does a good job. Voice. As with most of the titles, there is both resampled and new recorded voice, and once again, the difference is noticeable. Sometimes resampled voices from the movie sound overly hushed as too much natural data had to be removed to get them into the new environments, or worse yet, they sound a bit like someone recorded them over a telephone, while new recorded voice sounds are crisp as possible. While at times it can be a little bit hit and miss, for the most part it appears like they're working from the masters in the new Star Wars movie footage, so it's normally pretty good. Also, a couple voice actors return to do some lines, which is both a hint about Carrie Fisher's past love of all things powdery, and the fact that they returned to do new voices. I would say as a complete package, it's good voice work, but still held back by the occasional terrible effects. Gameplay. Once again, the game has you traipsing from one locale to the next, engaging in the story, exploring small hub worlds, and building, bashing, smashing, electrifying, lightsabering, force throwing, and basically just wreaking absolute havoc everywhere you go. I mean, when you think about it, the true victims in any LEGO game are the bystanders, as two blocky-headed SOBs shit tear through the level, smashing up store stalls, slashing through barrels of space grog, and letting their animals loose, all in the name of the rebellion. Now, you start out on Endor and right away learn some of the new skills like multi-build LEGO pieces, which is basically one pile of Legos you use to build a couple structures to get by particular puzzles, puzzles instead of the more traditional go here, go there kind of gameplay building in the past. While the idea to add something cool really tightens up the speed of the gameplay, it also sees a direct reflection in the function of the levels, tightening a blocking noose on freedom and exploration of the locations. Now you're sort of just going from one spot, building a fish tank, filling it with water, moving it 3 feet, then dumping it on a fire, instead of discrete discoveries spread out across those locations. While this has worked wonders for keeping workers from getting repetitive motion injury, it also results in a gameplay experience that feels narrowed from previous titles, though that could also be because there's a problem with LEGO The Force Awakens. All LEGO games are inherently indebted to the movies in which they find themselves exploring, where the Jurassic Park game had huge open worlds and parks and a massive number of locations and scenes from various movies. Force Awakens truncated the ending of Return of the Jedi, then leaps into the future when the entire bad guy force is led by someone who wears a BMX mask and uses a Fruity Loop VST to make his voice sound cool. And it takes 2 hours of fiction and tries to spread it to around 6 hours of gameplay, and man does it show. While this has been done before, it's that unique gameplay add plus this that sort of makes it feel a little bit odd. But there's some cool stuff as well. Exploration of downed Empire ships shows the continued verticality and unique crossplay gameplay loops that LEGO's always been known for. While flying TIE fighters and X-Wings may not be the most complex moments of the game, they excel at offering small snippets of chaotic goodness as you fly around the surface of Tatooine, the game's camera trying its best to mimic the original trailer's nonsensical "you spin while I spin, hey everyone spin" moments of the Millennium Falcon flying through different debris, or jetting around on a sand speeder on Tatooine, which, strangely enough, even despite its barren wasteland motif, was my favorite location of all. And some of the new character interactions like voice recognition and unlocking locations is actually a really cool side jaunt. But one of my favorite aspects is the new, more lively battles, where you build up something, jump into it, shoot some bad guys, leap down, hide behind some cover, then the enemies basically build their own heavy artillery to take you out, erect a shield, and then a mini-boss steps out and starts laying down heavy fire with the typical LEGO mentality of fill the level with stuff and see what happens. It's not like they're doing the exact same thing you are, but when you're in battle and reinforcements arrive in a massive loader and traipse out into your withering gunfire, or better yet, your droid's electrical stun weapon, it's actually pretty damn cool. Also, good lord, are the side missions excellent, especially ones that flesh out later stories of Star Wars and are basically considered official. I'm telling you right now, it's absolutely a missed opportunity that there aren't more of them, and that they require unlocks to get to, resulting in a mind-numbing amount of play where you're stuck delivering items around a level to get a guy to open a door so you can spend another 10 minutes building a crane to lower your robot over a gap that's literally 3 feet wide so you can get another gold bar to unlock the cool stuff that's actually the only new stuff. Where the prior games have engulfed themselves in the lore and the worlds, there just isn't enough movie here for that to happen, and much of the title's time feels like fluff, which is a result of the interesting new gameplay additions, but they're coupled with locations that seem more linear than the prior titles, as well as I just said, as a series of mistakes in how it's set up to unlock the stuff you actually haven't seen yet, which is the best in the game. In fact, as I was playing it, much of Force Awakens really felt like an odd hit-and-miss mentality. While it's got the cool new Gears of War and LEGO moments with you blocky-headed Coltraneing it from cover to cover, the way in which it plays out is haphazard at best, slipping out of cover to fire at a stormtrooper, only to notice that the aiming reticle and your shots apparently have some kind of restraining order against one another. Or the fact that repeated playthroughs will get you some extra stuff and a couple new interactions. They make you want to smash your face into a wall when you realize in the end it's really just two different characters standing there using the same set of blocks to build the same items in the same order and not moving around, nor really covering ground or mixing it up as it was in past titles. Force Awakens is solid, but it absolutely groans under the fact that so many Star Wars games have come and brought their A game to the table in terms of quantity of content, and here, much of it is either stuck in the small amount of fiction spread across many hours, or needlessly locked away. At least the normal aspects of LEGO are here, with a large number of ships and characters you can unlock, and though as always most are just a unique combination of other characters, it's fun to see some of the goofy costumes and ship designs. Now, one thing that the game excels in is the spirit of LEGO. In fact, despite any other misgivings, the inside jokes, overall location humor, and poking fun incessantly at the source material is some of the best, if not the absolute best, that I've ever seen in a LEGO title. So, as a package, I'd say that the new gameplay offerings do a good deal to mix it up, but are sadly confined to a, hey yo, we have something amazing for you, so now go do the same thing for like 4 hours to unlock it kind of mentality. Seriously, I cannot stress this enough. The locking of the best missions in the game versus having them ingrained into the title in a series of missions is an absolute serious misstep. Fun factor. Yeah, it was pretty fun. You know, despite the spaceship battles, which were a good diversion and the absolutely excellent side missions, and the momentary Gears of War LEGO moments, it also, though, doesn't feel that epic and seems directly influenced by the new additions to puzzling and a desire to have a tighter story, which is consistently and constantly appreciated by me, but also comes with the caveat that you work through it faster, and the cool stuff is locked up like the heart of an ex-girlfriend. So as you guys know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never touch it again rating scale. This is a wait for a sale. You guys know me, I'm a fan of these titles, but the shorter fiction, shorter title length, and the locked off cooler levels bother me more than the occasional moment of recreating Gears of War in LEGO form or the multi-build LEGO piles, because in the end, neither actually really added that much flexibility to the gameplay. Instead, due to their nature, they're actually quite inflexible. For example, with most multi-builds needing to be done in the very same order every time. While some of the new character interactions are really enjoyable, this is probably the first LEGO title in a long time to be a one-and-done affair for me. I think that any fan of LEGO who just goes out and buys any game is not going to be unhappy at all, and I certainly take my hat off to these guys adding some new gameplay effects in there as well, but I think the game design got a little bit muddled in the way they wanted to present it. So as always, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up, check out the Twitter, Patreon, Reddit. If you dislike the video, give it a thumbs down. And for more reviews, you know, that review the entire game, stick to ACG. Peace out, and enjoy the rest of your week.
There it is.